It's time for Gardening Inside Out, a live show offering you plant advice for any space in your life. Introducing your perennial hosts, David Bates and Josh Carey.
Hey, and welcome in, everybody. It's Saturday morning. It's time for Gardening Inside Out, a program that talks about gardening, whether you're inside or you're outside or anywhere in your world. Isn't that correct, David Bates?
That is absolutely the truth. And we want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone in. It's a Saturday morning, and we're getting off to a great start, but hopefully the day can improve as we go along. A few showers along the way this morning, and I didn't get my back here on the correct screen. Let's talk about weather. What do you say?
Okay.
Today is Saturday. It's the 2nd of March. Where did February go?
Away.
Into history.
Yes.
And with a leap. So it was indeed a leap year. This is a leap year. We got an extra day in February. So that was gone.
Good.
Today's Saturday. We're going to have a high of about 61 degrees today and some showers this morning. Overnight low of 46. And those clouds will get out of here later in the day. Don't know if they're going to get out of the way to actually call for very much sun today. In previous forecasts, they thought so, but perhaps not. It will be clearing overnight somewhat. We will get into Sunday, 73 degrees.
Yay.
Some few clouds in the morning, but sunny by afternoon. More of the same on Monday, a little warmer, 78, 59. Then we emerge into the rainy section of our week, beginning on Tuesday, 70, 55, some thunderstorms, maybe, half inch or a bit more of rain. Wednesday, maybe just a couple of hundredths more as a few lingering morning showers hang in there at 66 degrees, 48 for the overnight low. Thursday, 68, 55, mostly cloudy conditions. Maybe again, a few showers near the end of the day, and we're going to start off next Friday, allegedly, with maybe 0.6 of an inch of rain and showers again. We'll see. Saturday, it's showing right now showers. Hard to say. It's just too far away. One thing we do know for sure, currently it's 48 degrees here at Bates Nursery Station, live from the green room. So we're here to talk about gardening and plants, and who's not excited about it, because it is, after all, spring. It's March, which for us is the unofficial beginning of springtime.
It's in like a lion.
One of the things that's the first indication of that is that we are no longer closing early on Saturdays. We'll be open until 4:00. So that's our first little indication. So if you come out and see us today, we look forward to seeing you. We will be here until 4:00 today, a week away. That is a week away, Josh.
A week away.
Yeah, daylight saving time begins. That will be next week.
Do you have to open an account?
Then we have, it depends on how many hours you're going to put on deposit, Josh. If it's only 1 hour, no, you won't need an account.
Is it BitSun? Like Bitcoin? Okay, it's virtual.
No, I think it's actual. It's actual sunlight.
Okay. Where do you save it?
You save it for fall when you get that hour of sleep back. So it's part of the confusing calisthenics that we are put through, in my opinion, unnecessarily.
Yes.
But I've never been asked by any official who has a vote in it. I have yet to figure out who exactly profits from it.
The Illuminati.
They are a bright bunch. Maybe that's why they need the sun in the evening. So anyway, enough of all that.
Okay.
Let's welcome in Caroline Gant, Austin Lowe, and welcome in, guys, along with Tyler Blankenship across the way there. Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? My camera's really jacked up, but happy to see y'all.
Jack up. So, absolutely. Yeah, this week has been really indicative of people really becoming enthusiastic about this whole springtime concept.
Yeah.
Looks like we've got another one that's forming up nicely with no real cold weather in the foreseeable future. We're plowing straight ahead into it. I am certain there are a great many questions that folks have about what's going on in their yard.
Yes, there is. Everyone's ready for planting stuff. So a lot of questions. Are y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's dive right in. No more chit chat this morning from me and Austin. When is the best time to harden off seedlings? This is a great question.
This is a good question for people that like to start their own seeds. And you know what? It's time to harden them off as the weather permits, pretty much. So if you have seedlings and they're up and they're inside your home or under a green grow light or they're in a window or whatever, they're going to greatly benefit from some warmer daytime temps and sunshine, okay? So I don't mean like take them out. If they've been inside, take them out and just blast them with sun all day long. This is the hardening off.
You do that. Yes.
Yeah, like this is the hardening off process. So if you've got like a front porch, back porch, whatever, that you can at least get them outside into those, warmer daytime temps, but not just like a blasting full sun. We'll slowly acclimate them out and leave them out as long as you check the weather, okay? If the weather dips below probably like 40, depending on the seedlings, then you probably want to bring them in for the night or whatever, but then get them back out the next day. Get them back, and if it's staying above 40, leave them out overnight. We need to get them acclimated. That's what the hardening off process is. So it's really starting to get to be time to do that, but you've got to look at the weather every single night. You will lose them in one night if you are not careful and it dips down low around freezing or whatever. You're probably going to lose them. So do it that way, I think.
One of the most horticulture 101 kind of things is that particularly in the springtime at this transitional time of year, you pretty much need to be almost excessively observant of the weather. I look at it multiple times a day depending on what the forecast is, simply because we've got a lot of things that are kind of on the line.
Tender.
We don't want there to, we don't want to get things burned where, generally it won't kill them as far as new growth goes. But when talking about tender vegetable plants, you're absolutely right, Austin. Getting those things, it's almost impossible to correct spindly growth habit. That's an indication that they've been grown too warm and under too little light. So, the operative words are to try to grow them in as bright a light as possible and in as cool a temperatures. And there again, 40 degrees or even slightly below that is highly beneficial because it keeps the plant short and it makes those little stems get thick where they won't flop over.
And I learned a lesson last year. They got sunburned. I took mine straight from the basement under the grow lights right out into full sun and scorched them.
That'll happen too. Yeah.
Well, that's very common in your world too, with people
Yes.
taking houseplants out. Whenever you should bring them out, if you want to use them outside. I have to do that. I have horrible light inside my home, so I've got to bring my houseplants out too. But Caroline will be the first one to tell you, you take those out and put them in that full sun directly, burn.
You're gonna burn them. People think the sun is, plants need as much sunlight as you can give them, and it's warm. I'm gonna stick them out in the sun and let them sunbathe. Don't do it. Those leaves will burn and they don't recover.
Nope.
We'll get a lot of questions like, will it be okay? Will those leaves green again? No, they won't. The plant won't die. I mean, I have seen sun scorching kill some of my house plants. I put them out to get rain, completely forgot about it, and with the water on the leaves as well, it just destroyed the plant. So acclimate your plants, whether it's your seedlings or your house plants, to being outside. All right. So is it time to take straw off my strawberries?
Yeah.
I've never put straw on my strawberries.
A lot of people do. I don't really know why so much, but
Seems fun and cozy.
yeah, it kind of tucks them in, I guess, for the winter. I don't see any reason why. Strawberries are very cold hardy. They're an evergreen perennial around here. They'll stay up. So
Yeah.
I never even put any straw on mine.
no, it's
Now,
not.
the main reason for putting straw around strawberries is if you're using for the control of weed purposes, black plastic or other black weed barrier fabric, and that material gets quite hot if it doesn't have some kind of covering over it. So the straw over the top of those really black type of weed preventive cloths really helps a lot because it as the temperatures begin to warm up, that those black materials get really hot in the sun. So the straw will help, reduce the heat in the soil and keep it from getting so scorchingly hot. And also fruit that gets overlaying onto the top of the straw won't get scorched on the plastic. So that from that aspect, yes. But as far as overwintering goes, probably if you live further north, it might be more of an issue. But in our part of the country, it's, they go completely dormant. There's not a thing that you're really protecting them from here. And this winter, when we had cold weather, we also had insulation on top called snow.
Yes, we did.
The leaves mainly just sit there.
Yeah. But if you want to take the straw off because you don't like it anymore,
Go ahead and do it.
take it off.
I always put straw all over my wildflower beds in the winter as it breaks down. Okay, so we're going to move into some seed talk. We had a few questions about seeds. First off, is it too late to plant milkweed seeds? No, I would say it is not too late.
No.
It's a perennial here. I would suggest planting it in the fall. I did some in the fall. I sowed them in the fall, and I've also sowed them in the spring. They were able to establish a little bit better. Being planted in the fall, they were bigger. They started getting their, conditioning, being outside and growing a little bit sooner. But I would say it's not too late for that.
No. I mean, it's early spring, y'all. That's whenever seeds pop. I mean, it's kind of time to get them down and get that going. They're gonna jump. Milkweed, they readily jump from
they
seed.
readily jump from seed. They reseed themselves. It's a great plant. So kudos to you for planting that one. So we have another seed question, and now seeds can be a little bit confusing on when to plant them and how do I plant them. Now this one says, can I start putting morning glory and zinnia seeds in the ground? I would say it's way too early for zinnia seeds. If we get another freeze, which we definitely will, those are going to just burn off those little seedlings. So zinnias are an annual here. They're pretty tender. I mean, the first frost that comes through in the fall, early winter always zaps them. So I suggest waiting until really the beginning of May to put those in the ground. Morning glories,
Why?
why?
Yes.
First off, don't
Why?
do it. Every time I till up a new bed on my property, I awaken morning glory seeds that have been just sitting dormant for years and years and years, and they take over.
Yeah.
Now it's a really pretty plant. I see why you'd want to grow it, and grow it if you want to, but just know they readily reseed themselves.
They're
they
almost
just keep
invasive,
growing.
aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
They're wild.
And they'll choke out other plants. I get them in my vegetable beds all the time, and I won't even know they're spiraling up my tomatoes or like weaving through my green beans until it's,
Yeah,
I
until
wouldn't say too late, but yeah, can't get
it's
it out.
super hard to get them off. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they.
I'm definitely being invaded by my neighbor's morning glories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you
It's-
got them,
it's
you
crazy.
got them. Like
They're there.
Be careful with the morning glory. They
Also
are beautiful.
to the milkweed seed thing, I had some luck cold stratifying them in a refrigerator for 2 to 3 weeks. So just take the seeds with a little Tupperware and some soil, some moist soil, put them in there, cover it loosely, and 2 to 3 weeks in the fridge, pull them out, put them in the ground.
Yep.
Go on
There
and
you
get
go.
it.
Hey,
Yep.
speaking of invasives, one of the GIO watchers and followers, Laura, has sent us a link here about an Instagram, and it's something that you ought to take a chance to take a look at and follow it. But it comes up. It's for Science Visual and Native Habitat Project, and you guys are more Instagram savvy than me, so you follow them, you love them, do whatever you got to do out there. But they have they've created a T-shirt for the Bradford pear tree.
All of our favorite trees.
And it says "Rethink the Stink," and they're having some sort of
Words to
fun-
the wise.
yeah, some sort of fundraiser. But go out there and take a look at it. It's actually quite it's actually funny. Look, it's great. So we'll see.
Yeah, go check them out. All right, let's keep talking about getting stuff started. Someone is asking, what about lily bulbs?
Lily bulbs.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types, but
Mine haven't started jumping yet. I planted some last year, some perennial Asiatic lilies, and I looked just the other day to see if they're poking through the dirt at all, and they are not yet. So
Mine
they
are
like
not
it
either.
Yeah, they like it a little bit warmer, but it is time to get them in if you can find them. I guess we have some.
we have
probably.
some. Yeah, we've got some here at the
So
nursery.
yeah, so that's definitely something that can handle the weather, especially now where it seems like we're doing okay with weather, and it's time to get them in. They're going to start popping up whenever it's time. Like I said, mine that have perennialized still haven't even started jumping. So Get them in the dirt. They'll jump when it's ready.
I love mine. My mom will get me like Easter plants every year, and she got me some lilies one year. They're probably from Kroger.
Yeah.
I stuck them in the ground. It was just like one little plant with like 3 stems coming up, and now it's probably at least 3 feet of plant when it comes up. It's been in the ground for like 7 years. So
Wow.
It's a great plant. You never really think about putting those in the ground. I feel like it's not a very, very talked about one, but I love it. All right, our next question comes from Miriam. Good morning, Miriam.
Hi, Miriam. Miriam.
How soon can I plant potted coral bells in the ground? You can do it now, Miriam. I'm about to plant mine that are in my mixed containers, so I can go ahead and get them ready for my spring containers. Mine got zapped though in our snow freeze, but they're still alive. So I'm going to go ahead and transplant them to the ground, water them really good, and they'll be real happy.
Miriam, it's a great time to do it. It rained yesterday. The ground's really moist. It's just a perfect time to get out. Get your coffee. Go on out there. Get your shovel.
There. Or wait till 3:30. Get out there and do it.
3:30. It'll be warm at 3:30.
That'd be next week when we're saving the daylight, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
I am
That doesn't
excited, but I
happen
hate
until
time
Sunday,
changes.
though, Josh. Next Saturday it won't be.
But we'll be here
still
next
got-
Sunday.
Yes.
We will. First Sunday of the year.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so ready, y'all.
Are you
God,
so?
I'm so ready. I hate the darkness. I hate it.
Do you really?
Yes. Josh.
Do you like the darkness, Josh?
I would just rather they just pick one and stick with it. I don't care because
That's the camp I'm in. The thing that, and I'm probably going to write about this in my next newsletter. I'll touch on it anyway. Is the whole concept. I try not to dwell on it because it doesn't seem to change anything.
No.
But I like the morning daylight. That extra hour of darkness in the morning for me is not. I'm just an early riser.
Yeah,
Whatever. I just wish they
Pick
would
one.
pick one.
Yeah.
Just pick one. I don't care.
Yeah.
I hate the change. It's not fun. I can't imagine having kids with it. So
That's
I
the
don't know how you
problem
deal
with me.
that.
When I go home at night and my kids can't go outside and play because it's dark. I mean, they could, and they still do every once in a while. But I'm not an early riser like David. If y'all know David at all, he's up at, what are you up at, Dave? Like 3 a.m. every
he
morning.
slept in if he's up at 3.
Yeah.
3, 4.
Yeah, like it's crazy. So I understand it from your end. My end, no. It's like when I get home, I need that extra hour for them kids to play, get out there, release some
themselves
energy.
out. Yep.
I want to play outside.
I do
after
too.
work.
That's another point. I want to look around at the plants, look at my yard, all that, and it annoys me. Oh my God, I'm so ready, so ready.
So we can all agree that we just want the time change to stop. Whether it's early or later, we're
Just pick
mixed.
one, I guess.
Just pick one and stick with it. I'm going to pick a next question.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it better
Okay.
to wait until spring after potential April freeze to do landscaping? A little bit general.
It's very general,
It's
but
very general.
That's good.
General
It's a
answer
good
would
question.
We
be
can
no.
do both.
Yeah.
yeah, no, y'all. We brought all of our plants out of the greenhouse like 2 weeks, or I guess at the beginning of last week. I mean, even ours in containers, which plants are much better off in the ground than they are in containers. We already brought ours out, and they actually went through a 28-degree night the other night. It may have even gotten a little chillier the other night. We saw little to no damage. We saw a little bit of damage on like Photinia that had like really juiced up new growth. It got a little bit damaged, but nothing got injured. I mean, it's time to landscape, y'all.
It
It's
is.
spring, baby.
You know, we were talking about this yesterday because it is kind of confusing. You're thinking about putting stuff in the ground, and if you're not familiar with gardening, with landscaping, you don't really know when to do it. And what will make this easier is you can break it up. So you can put stuff in the ground, a lot of perennials, a lot of shrubs right now, and then you can wait until later to do more of your annuals or anything like that that's going to be a little bit more
I don't know a
susceptible to
gardener that
freeze.
doesn't need to clean up their beds.
Yeah, cleaning
Yes.
up beds.
If you're
It's a-
going to remulch, maybe do a little bit of that. If you use a Treflan type of product, it's called a pre-emergent, guys. You got to get it out before everything starts to pop.
And any of those old shrubs that you just don't like anymore, they're getting rangy, you want to get rid of. Like, get rid of those first before you come out and see us. I had a guest do this to me last week where she had this whole landscape that she really wanted to redo, but everything was still in there. Big, massive shrubs that had been there for 20 years or whatever. And I'm like, it really helps me to help you if you remove this stuff first, and I can see the curves in your bed. I can see the space you've got to help you design something that you're going to like better. So I told her to go home and get all that stuff out of there and then come back. Hopefully, maybe she'll come back today and we can get a landscape for her.
Well, it's just human nature. You're going to have that great big shrub that's really well established. You're going to get out there and you're going to start digging on it, and then you're going to go, this is hard.
Yeah.
And then you're going to try to move it around, and then you're going to cram everything in there where it doesn't need to be crammed, and ready to roll.
Yep. So,
But hopefully, when people are getting ready to do transplanting or replanting, they're thinking about the things that help their plants do the very best. We really want folks to be able to have success in gardening and to do that without having to exert a maximum effort. And that's where Earth Mix Garden products come into play. No matter which of the Earth Mix Garden products that you select, you're going to get one that's 100% organic.
Yep.
They're totally peat free. And they have no chemical additives. So what you get are the very best things that Mother Nature has to offer, whether you're talking about revitalizing your vegetable garden using Earth Mix Supernatural, which is a really big selection for a lot of folks this time of year, or maybe you're going to put in some new beds, garden beds, and you just want a ready-to-use mix. Earth Mix Garden is a really good one for that one. Or if you're doing some landscaping, guess what? It's Earth Mix Landscape that's the product for you. So no matter which product you choose, Caroline, of course, working in the greenhouse, will suggest Proganics I to you. It's also a really good product for starting seedlings and that kind of thing. So the entire line of Earth Mix Garden products is available for you, and it's available all over the area. If you go to the Find Earth Mix tab on the earthmix.net website, once it figures out where you are, the page will come up and it'll show you all the little pins all over Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, Northern Alabama. Our friends over in Memphis at Millstone Nursery, they believe they got a shipment yesterday, or it's getting ready to go out for them. We've got folks like Southeast Landscape Supply over in East Tennessee. If you go down into Huntsville area, we've got vendors down there that runs off the map. So, but anyway, the point
Hannah's
of it
in
is,
Hartselle.
thank you. You can put your address in the box up here, or you could just zoom in to the area near you for turn-by-turn directions for the location nearest you. And just remember this, it's really important to keep in mind that success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix Garden products. And we appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and to help you in your gardening efforts. Take the work out of it and make it more sustainable. And what do you say at this point, Josh?
You use the best inputs to get the best output.
Exactly right.
They do.
So thank you much.
Absolutely.
All right.
By the way,
go ahead,
I
David.
meant to show this earlier. We are just under 10 inches of rain for the year, 9.99 here, but the rain has stopped for the day. So you see there's no rainfall rate coming down. We did receive 0.04 of an inch this morning. So fortunately, it looks like the rain is out of here. It will be a slow warm through the day. Certainly will not be sweltering, but you can have a nice, comfortable day to come out and shop. We got a great selection of things to choose from. And once you kind of give us last week seemed to be truck week, was it not, Austin, that you
heavy
unloaded trucks all day long every day?
It was heavy. It was a heavy truck week. We are like really full right now. I mean, we look really good. Our lot is tight. I was spent yesterday. Me and Owen actually. Shout out, thanks for all your help.
Owen.
We got ready for Isley yesterday, y'all. Isley Monday. It's an event. You got to come out here and look at it. Me and Owen made plenty of space, I think. We got a whole section open and another half of one open for what's coming in. Hopefully it's enough room. We still have some stuff from Isley from last year that we still have up there as well to look at. And it's kind of cool. It's like you got to get in there. You'll find a little gym here or there because I had to make so much space that a lot of stuff is like pretty tight. So come out here and look at the old Isley stuff before the new stuff comes in, because there's still some gems in there.
There's some cool stuff.
Yeah,
you'll
you trip over a pot and be like, there's. Don't actually trip, please. But it's we're ready to go.
But what you're saying is there's a lot of stuff out there, so you might kick something and notice a little gem that's tucked away in there.
And
right.
sometimes they're little bitty guys you can get a bargain on.
That's true. Those will be here Monday. Very exciting. All right, let's get back to questions. We're getting some really great live questions in.
All right.
We've got one on YouTube, last year was my first time growing ornamental grass. Should these be cut down in the spring? I live in Southwest Pennsylvania.
All right, PA. Yes.
Welcome in.
Yeah, I give mine a cut. Me and Caroline actually did a video, and Tyler came to my house and did a video on this, but I showed that whenever I cut mine is whenever I see just the tiniest bit of growth on the outermost part of your ornamental grasses. So you'll see them just poking above the earth. Whenever you see that, one swift chop, or if you have a big fat grass, maybe it's 3 or 4 chops. But either way, chop them. I usually go about shin height. I like to leave that word together. It's just fun, shin height.
Is that a new Japanese maple
Yeah,
variety?
exactly.
I think that's a German,
I've
cultivar.
We've said this
Shinheit.
before, yeah. So I
Geschenheit?
leave, like I said, I leave the old stems up about shin level just to have so the other grass has something to kind of keep them upright. You know what I mean? And then they grow right through that, and you've got beautiful, blades of grass again. They'll be big and beautiful by the end of the season. Thanks for watching from Pennsylvania. My parents are from
I was
Pennsylvania.
about to say, yeah, Austin's got some Pennsylvania ties.
Both of my parents went to Penn State University. Shout out, Mama, Daddy.
Shout out Mama and Daddy. All right, so Jane on our Facebook page asked, is this a good time to transplant canna lilies? I actually did mine in the fall. I transplanted some. I broke mine up because I have a grove of them at this point, and I needed to thin them out.
The good news for you though is that cannas are another one that they like it warm, so they're probably not jumping yet. They're probably still sitting dormant. So as long as we're in dormancy, it's a good time to do it. So it's time. Get out there and do it soon.
They're not peaking yet, like Austin said. They like the warm weather. All right, can you recommend plants that attract pollinators that are also evergreen and that do not grow too tall? I'm considering lavender, but I'm curious about other possibilities.
Gosh,
That's a tough one.
Evergreen,
a lot of criteria
not too
there.
tall. That is. A lot of evergreens don't flower a lot.
I will say some of our evergreen hollies, I will say bees absolutely love hollies. You don't think about it because you don't even really notice holly blooms all that much. They're tucked in the foliage and they're tiny and they're white, but bees hum in that section whenever they're in bloom. So to get bees at least into your garden with an evergreen type plant, like I said, hollies, you typically do a good job of that. And there's 2 hollies that are native around here too, which is your inkberry holly and also your Ilex vomitoria, the Yaupon holly. Yeah. Both of those native evergreens, heavy bloomers, heavy bee visiting.
And, and contrary to what some people believe, I know there are people who are allergic to stings and have to be very careful about it. But when they are on the pollen and flowering plants, particularly in hollies, we used to grow them by the greenhouse full, and there could be tens of thousands of bees in there, and you could go in there and pull plants out. Not once ever did I get stung. They are so intoxicated with the pollen. They are not paying you attention. As long as you're not smacking at them, they're just going to fly off to another flower. So,
It's a great point.
Hey, David.
They're all about the pollen. They're not about you.
About that.
So,
Hey, David, you know why they hum?
I think they don't know the word.
That's it.
Oh,
That was a good one, John.
Yeah.
That's the old hummingbird joke.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, they're still flowing in on the Facebook page. Isn't it an okay time to divide perennials in Nashville? Purple coneflower is the plant that they are talking about. Again, something I probably would have done in the fall.
Yeah, or total dormancy. The one good thing you got going for you is that coneflower is super, super hardy, y'all. I mean, if you got to divide it and it's already up, I'm assuming your coneflower is probably peeking above the earth a little bit.
Mine is.
I would assume. I don't grow any at my house, but yes, Caroline has hers already up. We typically don't want to do that, but honestly, it's not a horrible thing to do because you can see exactly what you're dividing. Whenever you don't have any foliage, it's kind of hard to see exactly what you're cutting or getting or whatever. So doing it now, I think, is fine because of how hardy that plant is. Go ahead, get you a nice sharp saw and, saw it. Get as much root as you can. Get you a little shell, maybe a trowel or something. And, get as much as you can and divide it and separate it, water it. It'll be fine. It's coneflower. It's a weed. It's a good weed.
It's a
Operative
beautiful
word
weed.
being sharp.
Yes,
It really
sharp.
helps a lot to deal with tools that are sharp. Doesn't mean you have to be more careful, but it certainly makes for a much cleaner cut whenever you're dealing with dividing things or pruning things or whatever you're doing, digging. Sharpen your tools, and it really makes the life a lot easier in the garden.
Absolutely
It's
does.
so good to divide stuff too, because what do you get? You get free plants, first off, and you strengthen the mother plant that's kind of that one that you originally planted. So
Right.
you're going to get a better bloom set. You're going to get more plants out of it. It's just a simple way of propagating and an easy way to get more plants without spending money.
And
Yeah.
it's a mathematical conundrum that you actually multiply by dividing.
Yeah.
So,
Magic.
That's just the way that is.
All right. And our next one on the Facebook page, what is the difference between holly tone and plant tone?
Sulfur.
Very minimal differences. Okay. There's really not.
Sulfur.
Yeah. There's sulfur added
sulfur.
to the holly tone. That's the one difference. But when
That's it.
yeah, that's really it. When it comes to the numbers, the actual NPK numbers, those 3 numbers you see on the
Right.
fertilizer label, it's very minimal. They're all organics. You're not really going to burn if you overdo it like you could with the synthetics. So not too much difference beside the sulfur that David was talking about, which is that acid-loving kind of evergreen and camellia, rhododendron, that type of plant. You want to use it for those.
And actually, this is just a very true fact with respect to fertilizers. Without respect to whom the manufacturer is, they're all inherently much more similar than different. If it says tomato tone or citrus tone or plant tone or tree tone, as Austin just said, those are almost exactly the same thing. There might be a 1 point difference between the nitrogen and the phosphate and the potash, but they're really essentially the same thing. It's nice marketing, and if you just want to be able to buy a bag of something that has the Target thing on there, but you could just buy the plant tone and use it for almost everything except for acid loving plants, and that's where holly tone, that does have sulfur in it, does give you a lower pH, which acid loving plants tend to like.
I bet they have guava tone. I mean, you think?
I haven't seen guava tone
No,
yet.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, maybe, but
They would probably just use holly tone on that, or
Yeah, on
citrus
guava.
tone.
Citrus tone.
yeah.
And like David said, he mentioned one other one. The only other one that is tomato tone, and that's got added calcium.
That's
So
what
tomato
I'm
tone
saying.
has calcium,
does.
holly tone has sulfur. Other than that, all of them are almost identical.
I would argue that biotone has mycorrhizal fungi in it.
Ooh.
So
We'd be arguing.
Yeah, not
Well,
arguing.
yeah.
But that
posture,
was kind of like
postulate.
a
Postulate.
new plant boost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like biotone. I use it for almost all of my plantings.
They market that as certainly like a starter food.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's
And
actually
it's
use it.
it is another very good product, but
It is.
still it has at its core, it has the same base makeup. It does have other additives to it. So they're not exactly identical, but there's that. I guess my point is that you're not going to hurt some other plant by putting a fertilizer marked for some other kind on there.
Well, and again, to be clear,
Generally
we're
speaking.
talking broadly about the Espoma line.
Yes.
Right now,
Specifically.
you cannot say that about chemical fertilizers. None of this is.
Well, no, because you don't
yeah.
know what all the other chemicals
So-
are in there, particularly those that are designed for turf.
Right.
Because they could have herbicides in there, and you definitely don't want to use those around vegetable plants and
Or some
things
triple
that you
10.
wanted to harvest.
Caroline, what do you use biotone for?
I used it for cactus, which, if you have it indoors, it's not the best smell. But
Oh, you stunk up the greenhouse when you did that.
we had a raccoon that got into our biotone, and so I used it to fertilize the plants in the greenhouse. And I am telling you, the cactus responded to that so well. I had some cacti that had turned a little bit yellow, which they'll do when they need to be fertilized. And within like a week after putting biotone on these, they were gorgeous and back to their beautiful green color. And the new
Bigger.
growth coming out was great. I mean, I used it for other plants, but I found that the cacti responded really, really well to that.
And there's some chupacabra raccoon running around
Yeah.
White Creek now. So,
They love it.
Love Sluggo too.
Yeah,
wow.
they
Don't
love
eat
they
anything.
like that even more. But let's get to some more questions. So
Okay.
we got an email from Colin. Good morning, Colin.
What's
who
up,
we
Colin?
also got to
Colin.
see out at the nursery a couple days ago.
Wearing sandals. It
Now-
was chilly too, Colin.
Well,
Oh, he was
Colin and I
styling, don't
talked
worry.
about how
He
we're
was
ready ready for
styling.
spring. We're going to
Yeah.
force it by wearing our sandals, wearing our shorts, and just we're going to make it happen.
All right.
But our email is gardeninginsideout@gmail.com. So if you ever wanted to send photos, if you want to send questions throughout the week instead of waiting for that question box to come up, I really recommend going this route. Now, Colin, I feel like maybe you were going to attach some photos to this. I didn't have any photos attached, but he says he has some pink hyacinth coming up for Austin, which just started to crack.
Hey.
And then for Caroline, beautiful lamb's ear.
Yeah.
So, Colin, if you were going to send photos, go ahead and send those. But I can imagine them. And thank you for the lamb's ear for me.
Look, lamb's ear's good
Stop.
in the spring, okay? I give you that.
It's great in the summer. It's very drought tolerant, and it's going wild in the summer. You don't know what you're talking
The
about.
question last week was literally, my lamb's ear looks black and awful in the center.
In the winter,
Yeah.
All right,
do your boxwoods? No, I'm not even going to go.
Don't even. Foxwoods and lamb's ear nowhere. Not
You
even
and
same level.
boxwood.
No.
I could go there, but I decided not to. We don't have enough time. All right, and we got a second
Austin.
question on the Gardening Inside Out email about a Royal Star Magnolia, which was purchased late August and has already started to bloom. They would
Nice.
like to train it into a small tree rather than a shrub. Can you provide any guidance on when I should prune and any tips how to go about that, such as how many stems to leave at the bottom and how far up I should go to remove offshoots from those?
Wonder how big a bucket it was in.
Yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, with a small plant, it is nice. Oh, I see a picture.
Oh, okay.
Nice. That's actually fairly large. All right, so with this plant specifically, y'all know it's the first to bloom, okay? And they're actually in bloom right now. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if you do any pruning over the wintertime, you will cut off some of the buds for next season. It's not the end of the world. You just kind of have to live with that as you train a young tree. I can see this one is multi-stemmed, and it's got, looks like sucker sprouts that are much smaller than the main sprouts that you probably purchased. So I would say remove those first, and let's just keep those stems that you want. This is an aesthetic for you. So if you want 3 stems, go with 3. If you want 5, go with 5. But let's try our best to make sure that those stems are open and airy, going in different directions. It is naturally a shrubby-ish tree until it starts to get larger. So doing this process now, what a good question. I mean, because you do
Right.
want to start on this now. Go ahead and get on it, and just, you don't have to worry so much about, hurting it if you prune it now. Get rid of those sucker sprouts that are smaller and just keep those stems that you like. And then let's let it grow for a number of seasons. And
Yeah. How
then
quickly do they grow?
Not very.
Okay, so I mean, what,
Now they grow faster when they're younger, so that's
Right.
nice. But they're a fairly slow plant, and as it ages and gets bigger, that's when it'll show you to prune some of those lower limbs, so you can see the stems up to that canopy and that nice, beautiful white, showy
Yep.
plant.
Yeah, and what many commercial growers do when they are growing the tree form type of plants is that they will determine which stem has the lowest point that they can make it look right and clear the stem up to. So you'll put cut you a little cane if you need to, something to give you something to measure, or just use a measuring stick. Clear the one that can only go up so far first, and then do the others at the same distance, and it
Yep.
makes it look more uniform that way. And then once the flowering has finished, then you can go in and cut the top back, and then that will induce more breaks up high on it, and it'll make it thicker and fuller. And you won't really need to do any more trimming on it unless it's to remove sucker growth or shoots from below where you cleared the stems up.
Right.
So it's pretty easy.
Alita wants to know how far you cut back an andina.
As much as you want. I
To
mean,
the
pretty
dirt.
much. Yeah. If it's a big one, if it's the big, just regular old tall,
Heavenly
Domestic.
bamboo.
heavenly bamboo, I
Yeah.
mean, take it to the dirt if you want to. I know my
can't
father-in-law
kill it.
did that last year after the deep freeze. The sticks looked dead. He was tired of looking at them, clear cut them to the dirt. They came back thicker and fuller and better. So
Mm-hmm.
if that's the one you've got, cut it. If you got firepower and it's the little dwarf, evergreen variety, to take it in half. I mean, if you want, take it to the
Right.
dirt if you want. Honestly, y'all, an established Nandina ain't going nowhere no matter how you cut it.
Yeah, go on, get it. Hey, shifting back to Colin real quick. Colin went ahead and emailed that photo.
Colin!
And Colin, we can't get it up today. We'll put it up next week. But I wish you could have seen Austin's face when I opened this and he saw the picture of that hyacinth. And then I equally was just as astonished by how good your lamb's ear looks right now. I mean, that's gorgeous. And those two side by side,
That pink hyacinth is money, Colin. Money power.
He looks like he's gonna cry right now.
Oh,
he
he's
is.
got
I got
tears
something
in
in
his
my eye.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it
I don't know.
It's
Is it
so
the beauty
good.
of
Must be
this
allergic
pride
to
and
wool.
satisfaction?
Oh, it's a frilly pink, beautiful thing.
And it's planted. I mean, I know you guys can't see this, but it's the hyacinth planted right next to lamb's ear, and this combo is really, really nice.
Great
I
work.
love
I
it.
guess you
Yeah.
guys are gonna
ground?
you're gonna have to post it later, Caroline.
Yeah.
Or
I'll
something.
put, I
You
will
can't
get
keep
it up
people
on.
waiting. For
I
that.
will
Right.
post it later.
That's so good,
Later
Colin.
today after the broadcast.
Great work, buddy.
Yes. All
Hey, let's,
right.
let's take
Shift
just a
gears.
moment, talk about where we are, and that's Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And we're all about plants and all the things that go with it. We are here to help you try to figure out how to get the right plant in the right place the first time. Now, we touched on it earlier in the program. Austin did, talking about we need to be able to see, what you're working on. And so we're in the process of putting together, going to do a little video and some little preparatory things that to help you know how to show up as completely prepared as possible, simply because we have so many people who really would appreciate a few minutes of our time and our assistance. And it helps us greatly to be able to, for you to have all of your things together and collated, whether it's clearing out the stuff or redefining the bed edges or simply having your sketches and your photographs together. That's part of what makes the job for Austin and the other guys on the lot to be able to quickly look at your placing, because the time is right here on us where that we get crushed with this wave of people, and we are appreciative of that. And the more people we can work through as quickly as possible, it helps us to help more people. So we're going to be getting that out here in the next couple of weeks or so to help give you some reminders on what we need to help you. Now, what we have on hand to help you is a selection that is second to none. We are unloading trucks on a daily basis. We have everything from fruiting and ornamental trees to shade trees to all the pottery to, of course, the best soils on the planet, Earth Mix Garden products, to perennials, to ornamental grasses, to shrubs, to ground covers. The garden plants are already arriving for the cool season side.
Ooh.
You name it, we have it at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And again, what we really work on specializing on is expertise. We don't do anything else. Whether you're talking to Caroline or someone in the greenhouse about tropicals, or if you're out talking to Bridget about ornamental grasses or whomever, we're here to help you with that, because that is the only thing we do. We are here to ensure that you get the right plant in the right place the first time, because that's the way we do it here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. We are now open from 9 until 4 o'clock, Monday through Saturday. And beginning next week, not tomorrow, but next week, we'll be open on Sunday afternoons as the time changes. So come out and see us. We're conveniently located 1 mile north of Briley Parkway at exit 19 on Whites Creek Pike, which is just minutes from Rivergate, Opry Mills, downtown Nashville, Nashville West, Donaldson, all the areas around. We're really easy to get to. And I promise you this, as we like to say, Josh, it's worth the drive from anywhere.
Absolutely, it is.
So come on out and see us. We'll be open here just in a few minutes, and we'll be here till 4 o'clock today. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932. We appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and a chance to help you with your gardening efforts. So back to you, Caroline.
Fantastic. Let's talk about some pruning questions we got in. I have an old rose of Sharon that's about 15 feet tall. How far can I cut it back?
Once again, about as far as you want. Blooms on new wood. So doesn't
even
matter.
better.
Yeah. I mean, if you need it 6 foot, take it 6 foot. It's not hard. Get them all back uniform where you want them to be. Get out any crossing branches. Get out dead or dying or diseased-looking limbs. Give it a cleanup. Give it a cutback. It's going to be good. Rose of Sharon is super hardy, extremely hardy,
Yes,
and beautiful.
it is. I love it. All right. Advice on pruning hollies that were affected by the freeze a few years ago.
Okay. I want to see a picture of yours because
Yes.
so many hollies are different. Some have come back from their sticks like out where they have like from the tops, but you see a lot of stems and then like a lot of growth like basal growth, like at the base of the plant. And then some hollies, like upright tree hollies, have leafed out really tight on that main trunk, but still have gnarly sticks on the outside that are just dead. So I want to see this picture, if I could, to try to help you a little bit better, because I had one yesterday, actually, that was an email through Paula. Shout out, Paula, what's up? And
Paula.
it was that way. It was green at the top, a whole lot of sticks that were just bare and looking dumb. And then below that was new green that was coming from the earth. So I told those people, look, you're never going to see those sticks green back up again because it's growing from the top. So I had to tell them to clear cut that right atop of the foliage coming down from the bottom of the plant. That way it's going to come up and be green. You're going to have to wait a minute. It's going to take a minute for that to get back up to where it was, but it will. So if you could send me some pictures, I'll help you. I'll give you a phone call.
Yes,
There
he
is
will.
a strategy involved in particularly when you're dealing with things that have received damage. They're not dead, but they're not necessarily
Right.
There's Big David.
Whoa.
Oh, David just jumped on my lap.
David, so
Austin was
spry.
having an identity crisis there for a minute. Where, but when you get a plant that has sporadic growth in a variety of places, like Austin was talking about, it does make you have to make some decisions that you wouldn't normally make. So again, photographs like Austin's saying, are really helpful because you've kind of got to decide, well, you could do it this way or you could do it that way. And depending on what you choose will dictate how it's going to grow off. And there's no one thing that says is right for all cases. So
Right, and that goes to what
bring
you were
those
talking
out.
about during the spot just a few minutes ago. Give these people as much information as you can, because if you tell them wrong, they're going to react to what it is that you tell them, and maybe you made the mistake, not them. So
Oh,
I mean, it really helps. The pictures in particular are probably the best.
And
thing.
being prepared. I mean, you could do a little thing like create a little album on your phone and drag all your landscape pictures to that little album. That way, you don't have to thumb through your phone trying to come up
it
with
doesn't
them.
have to
And
be PowerPoint either. Yeah.
and we don't have to look at your Greece vacation in the process. I mean, it's not that we're
What's the matter with my
against
Greece vacation?
that. It's just that it takes time, and
Okay.
our time is short in the spring in particular.
My kitty.
The biggest and one of the biggest things, y'all, is observe your sun exposure. I did a landscape design for a woman. Her name's Jane. She's very sweet, very nice. But she told me she had a lot of shade. I created a shade bed for her. We torched those plants because they got way more sun than what she was explaining to me. So, and it wasn't her fault. She just didn't really know all that much.
And
So,
honest to goodness, folks, everybody has one of these. They have them attached to their hips. Sometimes you have them on your wrist. There's an app that's called a compass that you can tell, and it's free, it's easy, and you can point it in the direction that it is that you're going to be able to see, even if you have to read it backwards because it's facing
And
the house. And it's
if you don't
north.
know whether you've got actual sun or shade, just kind of look up. You know,
Yeah.
I know it's
Note the time,
The,
you know.
the tricky part is observing the amount of light an area gets throughout the day.
yes.
And being able, and if you're not experienced in doing that, it's easy to misinterpret because you get
Easily.
maybe morning sun and you go, well, no, it's very sunny, but then it's shady the whole rest of the day. So it actually is shady. Whereas, or it could be vice versa. You know, you might
Versa.
think, well, no, I'll go out in the morning and there's just no sun at all. And of course, it's scorching in the afternoon. So
Right.
or do you actually have trees that give you shade canopy all day long? And that's really the key things is their
Yes.
structure of some
Yeah.
kind, be it a tree or some kind of a building that creates the shade that you need to allow for.
What about this that makes it a fun game? You set 3 timers during the day. You know 10 a.m. or 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and like 3 or 4 p.m. and take literally walk outside and take a photo of the area throughout the day.
Cool.
Yep, we
Very
can
good.
do that.
Y'all,
And
we're
speaking
running out of
shade-
time.
Speaking of shade, I got to know, what are these plants behind
What
us?
are
Tyler,
they?
hit the button.
Uh-oh.
What's in room
Hey,
with
it's still
Caroline?
me. Hold on a second.
Hey,
Bye.
Yay!
Oh, there
All
it
right,
is.
let's go ahead and do a rundown of what we got in here. So we've got some two topiaries in the corner, some arborvitae, very classic look. We kind of went with a classy theme today. And down below, Austin was really excited about this. I know Austin has a gardening friend that has a giant one that can be a little bit tricky. And are they also in bloom? What are they?
Yes, Pieris japonica, shade-loving, beautiful. God, that one's called Katsura, and it is money.
I kind of want to try one. There's so much I do want to try, but let's go ahead and look down in front. I brought columbine in.
Yes.
So this is one of the more shade-loving flowers that I talked about in my wildflower gardening webinar, which you have not checked out. Go ahead and look it up. These are fantastic. We just got these in. They're in full bloom, y'all. They look so good. I was talking with Celeste and Jane down in the greenhouse about them. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I have our the native that we have here. It's like a smaller wild one, super cute. Really fantastic, low maintenance. And then next to it, we've got some yellow moonshine yarrow, which I also have in my garden bed. This one grows a little bit lower, so I kind of think of it as sort of like a ground cover yarrow. Like the leaves will stay low, but then it'll get some bloom spikes that go up. I have this planted on either side of my sidewalk. And y'all, what do we have down in front? Pansies.
Yeah.
We are
Pansies.
getting more pansies in, and mine in my beds that I planted in the fall are popping up and blooming right now and looking fantastic. And then down in front, we've got, what was it, Montana moss?
Yeah.
It smells fantastic.
It's a juniper.
Juniper, yeah.
Montana moss.
Most junipers do smell pretty great.
They get big, and they get big quick.
Okay,
Big
so
area.
if you need a big, quick growing, privacy something. And this one I would say is really easy. Drought
About cake.
tolerant. I mean, it's going to
Put it in the
establish
ground,
and
get it going.
put it in the ground and get it
Just
going.
cake.
But that's a quick rundown of what we have in bloom or in room. Excuse me, I'm trying to jump in on Austin's
Yeah.
spot. But again, these columbine that we've got in at the nursery right now, you've got to come down and get you some today. Josh is smelling them. Josh, what do you think?
How much?
How much?
Beautiful.
Only $10. $9.99 will
Only
get you one of the
$10.
most beautiful flowers on the planet.
Absolutely.
$10, y'all. Come on, get it.
And then right in the middle, I had to bring in hellebore once again because
Oh,
y'all,
gosh.
I mean, this is
What a
hellebore
win.
season. We still have some here at the nursery. I know we're getting another shipment in, and they
are
are
money this
wonderful.
Can you
year,
give it a
too.
spin, Caroline?
Oh yeah, our turntable. We got a turntable. Look at us. It's not.
It's
Tyler
not-
was cheap
it's not
on the
very-
turntable.
I'm sorry. I'm going to get us a better turntable. We're working on this.
Hey, while we were going over what's in broom,
I tell you.
what's in room, Colin did comment. He said the reason the lamb's ear looks so good is because I bought it from Fate's Nursery and
Whoa.
Garden
Yeah,
Center.
Colin.
Yes.
You little suck up.
All right, I say we could. Don't you dare!
He's working
Don't
on
you
it.
say it.
He's trying.
All right,
That's
let's
okay.
let's
It
just
works.
go ahead and take a shift right into that other thing.
That other thing.
Oh man.
With Austin.
I've actually got a list today, y'all. There's things that are blooming, okay?
All
Pansies.
right.
What a difference
Pansies.
a week makes.
Yeah, I know. Pansies, hellebores, daffodils. We've talked about that already a couple weeks ago and into this week. They are still going good. When it comes to your shrubs, hey, forsythia, them yellow bloomers, they're out. They're looking good. Some of them are very big. I saw some on a cliff on the way here the other day.
Wow.
Just dangling down yellow blooms. Look great. Pieris, like we've talked about. Yeah, they're still. Pieris, when it blooms, is just money power, y'all. And well, then we get into some trees. Hey, the early blooming cherry trees are blooming. Y'all are seeing some pink trees out there blooming. Those are some early cherries. Typically, Okame is a variety or autumnalis. Those two are typically blooming right now. They look really nice. We were talking earlier about the magnolias. The star magnolia, that's the white one that's in bloom right now. Multi-stemmed plant up to a tree. Some of them are big. A lot of them are small. Either way, beautiful when they bloom. The saucer magnolias, y'all, the pinks and the purple mixed together with the cup-shaped bloom. A lot of people call these tulip magnolias. Those just started like literally 2 days ago. They look fantastic. Also, if you're into fruit, the plum trees are blooming. Little white, sprawly, small trees blooming pure white right now. I'm sure Tyler's is.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're opening.
Yes, they look good. Really, really pretty ornamental tree, but also produces fruit, so that's cool. All your maples are blooming. You don't notice maples very much, but they've got their buds that are red. So if you see a lot of big trees right now with like looks like red atop of them, those are maple trees that are actually blooming right now. We don't really think about them blooming. They're not super showy or anything, but they are in bloom. And then we get into the pears. Oh, the Bradfords and the calorie pears. The calorie pear is kind of that gnarly, thorny pear that typically blooms out in the woods. That
I
one's
have
blooming.
those.
And
Yep.
calorie, and also the Bradford pear. They are just starting. They're not full show or anything yet, but they're starting to go. I'll be talking about those probably the next month because they do bloom a long time, but they ain't all that good.
They ain't all that good.
If your neighbors have one, talk bad about them.
Yeah.
You got to have a pear. Make it a fruiting pear.
There you
Yes.
go.
Oh,
They
There you
actually
go.
do very well here. Pears probably do as good as any fruit around.
I've got some
Pretty
pear
much.
trees and they're about to bloom and they're gorgeous when they're in bloom.
Yep.
I mean, stunning. Hey, I want to get to the rest of our questions that we got
Okay.
in live. I had aphids on my huge crepe myrtle trees last year. Y'all suggested adding neem oil in March. Is now the time?
It's March.
It is March. And yeah, I'm fortunately joined the club with the aphids last year. Good Lord, everybody on crepe myrtle had aphids. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do our pruning as well to get rid of
I
any of
think
that.
I would go with something a little more,
A little
a
stouter.
little higher viscosity. Just use like a dormant oil
Yeah.
still on crepe myrtles right now because you want something that's going to completely smother those out. Neem oil is great. It's organic. It's very light, but
it's
it
very
won't
light.
have the suffocation capacity that dormant oil would. So, it's still on crepe myrtles. It's not too late to be using that.
All right. Do you guys offer or have suggestions or resources for soil testing?
The Ellington Agricultural Center will do that for you
For free.
Yep.
for free. Yeah, you send in a sample of your soil, and they will get in touch with them on how you want to do it or how you're supposed to do it. But yeah, a lot of people do that. They'll give you a whole guaranteed analysis.
And again, you
And our friends over at Dickens
Yeah,
Turf and
absolutely.
Landscape Supply have a relationship with a lab that you can bring a sample in and send it off and they'll get it tested. Generally, if you're testing a yard area, you want to take multiple samples, mix them all together, then take a part of that and send it off to get something that's a more averaged result. You don't want it to be too specific about a specific spot,
Right.
unless it is indeed a singular tree pit that you're digging out of and you're trying to figure out what to do with it.
and if
that
some
is not free. That is not free. at
No, that's not a
Dickinson.
free test.
It's
That's
worth the test, though.
Yep.
and for
You want
folks who
more-
are watching beyond the Nashville or Tennessee area,
Every state has counties. Every county has an extension
extension,
agent.
yes.
That would be the first place
That's
I would
the
reach
first
out
start.
to.
Yeah.
But Dickens is a turf supply house. So if you've got a professional place like near golf courses, they're probably one everywhere you want to turn. So
Yep.
Okay. And are you getting David Austin roses in this year? They're asking that about here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Of
David
Go
course.
Austin.
We get them every year, people. We got them. We got Weeks roses coming that has some really beautiful roses, but
Yep.
the David Austins are really, really popular. They're a little bit more expensive. You got to pay for them. Old David's fancy, okay?
Okay.
But they're beautiful. And when they're in bloom, I mean, they're the highest petal count you can imagine.
Oh, wow.
Some of the best climbers, some of the most just
I need a
smell
climber.
good.
It's a
Gotta
great
put a
day when that
climber
comes
in.
in. It's almost
And
as
they're
exciting
very-
as Isley.
They're very tough and resilient too. They don't really have as many pest and disease problems as other roses do. They're pretty awesome.
And they're
Beautiful.
gorgeous.
gotta have a climber.
We only got
Gotta
one
have a
hydrangea question in this morning.
Oh.
Best fertilizer for hydrangeas.
plant time.
Plant on.
Back around to the Espoma
This
talk.
kind of depends, though. If you do have a hydrangea that you want, to say the Endless Summer collection, the ones that either turn blue or turn pink, depending on what color you want, that does kind of depend on what fertilizer you give them. If you want a blue hydrangea, if that's the one you've got, we need an acid-loving fertilizer. We need to acidify that soil to keep that bloom blue so it doesn't turn pink on you. Other than that, though, across the board, hydrangeas, I mean,
Yeah.
take your pick.
And
you
there
can
are
change the color.
Espoma does have that
Yeah.
soil acidifier, which is essentially is a faster release form of sulfur.
yeah.
I think is it aluminum sulfate or magnesium
Probably.
sulfate?
I think magnesium
something that will change the pH rather dramatically, rather quickly,
Yeah.
and get you the color change.
Read the label on that one, though, boys and girls.
Do it. While we're on the fertilizer topic, we have a question asking, should I fertilize my Japanese maple?
Actually, no. Honestly, unless it's stressed for some weird reason, you have like yellowing leaves or whatever. Like I've read a lot about Japanese maples. Their fall color does not get quite as good if you fertilize too much with nitrogen. Okay, so I don't recommend really fertilizing them unless they need it.
Yeah. Risha's got
Another
to go ahead,
part that-
David.
Why you might not do it now is that Japanese maple are the biggest freeze issue with them is a freeze that comes out after they flushed new growth. So if you really juice them up and push a lot of new growth out early, and then you have a freeze, there's going to be a lot more damage on them. So I'm in agreement. You can wait a little while on that one.
Okay, Risha's got a quick question, and we might have to readdress this next week because this is kind of a little bit of a I want to call it controversial. Your thoughts on imidacloprid for crepe myrtles beyond just the imidacloprid act.
Okay. Imidacloprid is the active ingredient that is probably the stoutest chemical for insects on the planet.
Yep.
I think it's already been banned in the UK. It is something that is still used in the States. It is taken up by the plant, so it's in the plant, and it lasts for almost a full year.
Yep.
I don't recommend it for crepe myrtles just because they bloom so heavily that bees are really all about it, and you will just mess up that. I prefer you not to do that.
No.
Live with aphids before you kill bees.
Yeah.
Yep. So, no. We don't like
Again,
that idea.
the dormant oil, what we
Yes.
talked about earlier, that will do a very good job. It has no effect on the bees whatsoever, and it can be quite effective.
Thanks for watching, Reesh.
Yes, absolutely. Great question too. Because it's
Really
in,
good one.
It's in a lot of stuff that you don't realize it's in too. So be real careful with that. All righty, folks. Music means that this edition of the Gardening Inside Out program is coming to a close. But next Saturday morning, it'll still be regular time. It'll be on
Yeah,
at 8
it
o'clock, and we'll be all here. But
That time's not gonna change. Just
Nope.
the question where the sun is in the sky.
open till 4 today, so we get them
That's
out
right.
here and ready to rock and roll. Hey, for everybody here at Gardening Inside Out, we thank you for participating. We appreciate it very much. Share the word. We'll see you next week.